The only special prop today is to have a block, and I think most people normally do have one. So any questions before I put the mute all on? Pretty good. Hope everybody had a good holiday. So we're gonna switch into our crocodile pose to start off this morning. So if you want to get yourself set up down on the floor, if you recall crocodile pose, you're going to be lying on your belly.
I'm sorry, I wanted to.
With your forehead resting on your forearms. All right, perfect. Okay, so just having a block on hand and then coming down into crocodile pose. And we have the forearms stacked one on top of another and the forehead resting on the forearms. If this isn't comfortable and sometimes pressure on the forearms or the wrists is not comfortable, you can slide your arms up a little bit and rest on your cheek. So that's an option as well. Or if it's hard to breathe for you, face down. And then if it's comfortable, we're going to open up the legs so you can rotate your thighs open. So you're resting on inner thighs and inner knees, and then your toes are kind of pointing off to opposite walls. Okay. So just take a moment now to find your position. And then once you're there and you're comfortable, you can let your eyes close and allow your body to be still. So slowly moving into stillness and getting a sense of how your body feels this morning. Maybe going to those places where you have some tension or some aches and pains. And as you bring your awareness to those places in your body, see if you can let go a little bit. So just with our own concentration, we can soften muscles. We can release tension. And you'll begin to notice your body settling into the floor. So you feel all those places where your body is in contact with the floor below you. And you have the sense that the floor underneath you supports the weight of your body. And now start to notice your breathing. And in crocodile pose, we can feel that place where the navel touches the floor. And as you inhale, you can follow the breath through the nostrils down into the belly, feeling the belly expand, maybe press down into the mat. And then as you exhale, the belly empties and you settle in a little more deeply. So just relaxing and watching the breath flow down into the navel and the exhale flow up and out through the nose. And now start to notice if you can make your inhalation just a little bit longer. So if you can take in just a little bit more breath. And if you can make your exhalation just a little bit longer. So when you think you've let go of all your breath, see if there's just a little bit more. You might draw your navel in a bit. Excuse me. And the breath begins to smooth out. Take about 3 more breaths in this position. And then we're going to bring the legs back to neutral. So if you do have your thighs rotated open, let's come back to kneecaps and tops of the feet. Ankles are in line with the hip joints. And then if you press up into your hands, you can lift your head and shoulders. And we're going to imagine that the pelvis is glued to the floor. And we're going to walk the upper body as far as we can to the left. So just walking until you stop, and then resting on the right cheek, and the right arm is framing the head. It's a bit of elongation through the right side of the upper body, through the rib cage and the shoulder joint. And again, the right arm could just frame the head. And just take a few of those nice long, deep breaths into the right side of the ribs. Allowing the inhalation to fill and stretch a little deeper, allowing the exhalation to soften. And then again, let's lift the head and shoulders, and we'll use the hands to walk through the center line. Again, pelvis doesn't move. And walk as far as you can to the right now, and rest on the left cheek, left arm frames the head. And in this position, bringing our awareness to the left side of the upper body and breathing into the left shoulder joint, left side of the ribs. And just creating space through the side of the body. And then let's walk ourselves back to center. And we're going to be up in our Sphinx pose here. So we could have the elbows underneath the shoulders. This is a little bit too tall. There's a little bit too much squeezing in the lower back. Elbows can be out and the upper body can be lower. And then from here, we're going to work with the neck. So we're going to bring the chin towards the chest, nice and slowly. Just as if you were trying to look at your navel center. And then softly pressing the chin down towards the chest. Deep breathing into the upper back. And then nice and slow, let's bring the eyes to neutral. So we're looking straight ahead. And then once again, we'll bring the chin down towards the chest. So again, moving nice and slow. And from here, we're going to move the head into a rotation. So let's bring the ear over towards the shoulder, come across the center line, opposite ear to opposite shoulder, and chin back to the chest. So we're kind of moving in a half circle here. And as you're moving, allow your jaw to soften, your teeth to part. And then switch directions. Again, nice slow half circles. And the next time the chin is down towards the chest, we'll hold there for just a moment. And then slowly bring the gaze forward. And we're keeping the gaze forward, but we're going to lift the eyes so that you're looking up at your forehead. And relax, look forward. And now see if you can look down towards your chin without moving your head. And eyes forward. Let's walk our hands a little closer to the body, and we're going to move back into a child's pose. Nice and slow, lift up and sit bones back. Yeah, so allowing your forehead to touch. You can use a block if that's more comfortable. And just rest the weight of your head, relax through your neck. And then let's walk the hands back towards the body, and we're going to be lying down now on our left side. So resting on your left hip, knees will be bent for better balance. And then the head can either rest inside your arm, or if you have a little cushion, you can use that as well. I can support my head here, or if you have a cushion or a folded blanket, you could use that instead. And then once you're here, let's take the right fingertips, bring them to the shoulder. Bring the elbow in nice and close to the body, and we're going to start some circles. So we're drawing a nice big circle up on the ceiling with the right elbow. Gently working into the right shoulder joint. Good. And so we start with a circle that's nice and easy. And then as the joint starts to warm up, you might make your circle a little bigger. And then after we've drawn 5 circles, we're going to bring the arm to resting on the side body, and the palm is forward, fingers are spread. And on your inhalation, let's bring the arm up and the bicep by the ear. And then on the exhalation, the arm comes back alongside. It's kind of a big wave. Good. Inhale, arm up by the ear. Exhale, arm back resting on the side. We're doing about 5 of each of these. Good. And then the next time you're on your way up, we're going to stop when the arm is just perpendicular to the floor. So straight out from the shoulder joint. And then let's let the arm drop behind the body just a little bit. Enough that we feel an opening in the front of the right shoulder. And relax down between your shoulder blades and just let your arm be heavy. About 5 breaths here. And then fingertips back to the ceiling, arm back alongside. Okay, so moving down to the lower body now. We're going to tent our fingertips out in front, and this just helps us keep balanced. And our right big toe is going to touch out in front. Let's bring the knee in towards the belly, and then see if you can bring your leg up to the ceiling, and knee in towards your belly, and tap your toe. Okay, so let's keep going. Knee in, leg up, knee in, and tap. And maybe the leg isn't facing right at the ceiling. You might be off on an angle a little bit, depending on your hips this morning. That's fine. Stay balanced as best you can up on the left hip. And the next time we come up, we're going to stay there. So the right leg is extended towards the ceiling. And then we're going to take the right hand and support the leg from behind. Okay, let's flex and point the toes. And then roll the ankle joints. So let your big toe make some circles up on the ceiling. Switch directions. And then we're going to draw the leg in a little closer to the body. So as straight as your knees goes, little flex in the foot, and let's draw the leg in. Okay. So your hand can be anywhere that it's comfortable on the back of the leg. If you have a lot of flexibility in the back of the leg, you could hold your big toe. But the idea is to stay balanced on the hip. So if you start to kind of roll back towards your back, better to hold behind the knee or the thigh. And there's just a little bit of pressure as we're drawing the leg in. And whatever your head is resting on, make sure to keep the neck relaxed, no tension. 2 more breaths. And then let's bring the knee in and restack the legs. Okay, now we're going to move into a quad stretch. So we're going to take the right arm behind the body and just see if you can find your ankle or the top of your foot. And then bring your thighs as close as they come. From here, slowly we'll bring the right knee back. So nice opening for the top of the thigh. If it works, you could have your ankle bent and your toes flexed a little bit. If that makes it too tense, just keep the foot soft. Long, deep breaths. This is a nice way to stretch the quads without putting any pressure on the knees. So if your knee joints hurt doing this, maybe better to use a strap or something. And then when you're ready, you can release the foot. And again, the fingertips are tented out in front. Let's bring the legs straight, knees pointed, toes pointed. And we're going to balance on the hip. So just see if you can bring both legs up. And again, we're shooting for about 5 breaths. And squeeze your toes a little bit, reach through the big toes. And then relax, lower the legs. Good. Okay, let's roll across the back and we'll come up on our right side. And we'll be in the same position. Knees are bent, legs are stacked, and the right head, and then the head will rest inside the right arm. Sorry. Once you're here, fingertips come to the left shoulder. Let's bring the elbow in nice and close to the body and start your circles. And nice big circles. And they become smooth, maybe a little bigger. And just letting the head rest on the arm. And then let's bring the arm to resting on the side body. Again, the palm is forward, fingers are spread. And we're going to inhale, bring the bicep up by the ear. And then exhale, bring the arm back alongside. So keep your hand awake. And just paying attention to sensation in the shoulder joint as you're moving. And the next time you're on your way up, we'll stop when the arm is perpendicular to the body. And then let the arm move behind just a little bit. Again, until you feel that opening in the front of the left shoulder. And then just holding here, allowing the arm to be heavy. Again, it shouldn't feel like straining or pulling. If it does, come a little higher. Otherwise, letting go and breathing. And fingertips back to the ceiling and arm alongside. Okay, let's tent the left fingertips out in front. Left big toe touches. And knee moves in towards the belly, leg straightens up towards the ceiling, knee in towards the belly, and tap your big toe out in front of your body. Okay. So wherever it kind of lands organically is fine. Getting the hip joint ready for a hold in this position. This is our couch lying pose, Anatasana. And then the next time you come up, let's stay there. Left hand comes behind the leg to support. And let's think about our foot. So let's flex and point our toes. And roll the ankle joints. So drawing big circles up on the ceiling with the pointer or big toe. It's not a pointer toe. And then draw some circles the other way. And then the legs as straight as it goes comfortably. We're going to draw the leg towards the body. Again, you can support behind the thigh or the knee, or if it's comfortable, holding the big toe. And just gently drawing that leg towards you, big opening through the hamstrings and the calf muscles. So if you're holding your big toe, the calf muscles are engaged, right? Because the foot is in flexion. If you're holding behind your leg, just keep your toes spread and your heel pressed. Two more big breaths. And then bringing the leg back down, let's restack the knees. And getting ready for our quad stretch. Left hand comes behind the body. See if you can find your ankle or top of your foot. Close your thighs as close as they go. And then draw the knee back. So one of the things I had when I was in physical therapy was a yoga strap with loops in it. So quad stretch is something that can be hard on the knees. And when you have knee injuries, your quads are usually really tight. So it's kind of a lose-lose situation. How do you stretch the quads while being kind to your knees? So this strap was really useful because you didn't have to sit there and work the buckle and try to figure out the best place to put your loop. These loops were just all sewn right into the strap. So it's called a Coolcraft strap, and they have them on Amazon. And you do have knee things. Actually, they're really good for upper body things too. It's a great home studio tool to have. So if you need something for your holiday wish list, I've worked out all kinds of fun things to do with the yoga therapy strap. It's another good way to stretch your quads is to kneel, which is still something I'm not quite comfortable in yet. So straps are very useful. All right, let's restack the legs. And then we'll bring our left fingertips out in front. Again, we're tenting. And then straighten your knees, point your toes. You can squeeze your toes a little if it feels good. And then bring the legs up together. So balancing on the right hip. Okay, nice and steady, 5 breaths. And then let's lower the legs down. And we're going to roll onto our backs. So make your way onto your back. And when you get there, you can draw the knees in towards your belly. So let's come to our wind reliever pose. And rock out your lower back. And we can make this even a little nicer. Hands are on the kneecaps, and we'll trace some circles up on the ceiling with the knees. And you can do this without your hands too. It might give you a little bit more room. So if the hands come down on the floor, knees are drawing circles up on the ceiling. My arms aren't very long, so they inhibit how big my circles can be. It's a nice massage for the lower back, the sacral area. And then we'll switch directions. These draw circles on the ceiling. And then we're going to lower both knees down to the left. Next time the knees are up close to your belly, let's roll and let the knees drop left. And we'll just stay here for a few breaths. See if you can relax your right shoulder. Okay. The shoulder's popping up off the floor a little bit, which it probably is. You can keep the arm closer to your body. And then we'll press into the palms, draw the knees up to your belly, back on your back. And roll across, let both knees fall to the right. Again, the left shoulder might pop up a little bit, so do what you need to do to not feel strained through the shoulders and arms. That might mean bending your elbow, bringing the arm in a little closer. It might even mean the arms resting on the body. What we're looking for here is the twist. Okay. Now we're going to start moving from side to side. So draw your knees in, exhaling. And as you inhale, both knees drop to the left. Exhale, draw your knees into the belly, roll across the back. Inhale and drop. Exhale, knees up. Inhale and drop. So just keep moving from side to side. On the exhalation, you're drawing your knees up, squeezing the belly a little bit. And on the inhalation, dropping. Good, side to side. And then the next time both knees are up, we're going to bring the legs out long on the floor. And let's give ourselves a nice full body stretch. So you can bring your arms up overhead and just reach through your right fingertips, press through your right heel. And relax, and then left fingertips, left heel. So just kind of moving from side to side, lengthening the body on the floor. Feels good. You can wiggle your fingers, wiggle your toes. And then let's bring the heels of the hands to the forehead. So we don't want to forget the facial muscles. And we're going to draw circles on the forehead with the heels of the hands. Checking in and noticing tension in the face. Move from the forehead down into the temples. Maybe opening and closing your teeth. And you can take the pointer finger and middle finger of each hand, bring them to the space between the eyebrows. And then press in with your fingers right between your eyebrows. Drag the fingers down the side of the nose and out across the cheekbones, all the way to the ears. Okay. We'll do that 2 or 3 times. Our joints and glands exercises are nice because they work anywhere. Standing, sitting, lying down on the floor. You can even do them when you're in your postures. And they're kind of a nice way to relieve tension if you're in a posture that's creating some tension. Okay. And then when you're ready, we're going to turn over and come up into our table pose. So you can roll to your side. And we'll come to hands and knees with the wrists underneath the shoulders and knees underneath the hips. And then once you're there, we'll start to move through our cat and cow stretching. So dropping the sit bones towards the backs of the knees, arching up along the spine, and then drop your head. Sit bones lift, release the belly, release the chest, look forward. And just continuing. You might see if your awareness can follow the movement along the spine. So as we feel the articulations through the spine. And then next time you're at neutral, let's take the hands one step forward. And we're going to roll the pelvis. So you can drop your pelvis forward and then out to the side and back, other side and forward. Good. So we can do this with straight elbows. We can do this with the elbows bent. Whichever way you move more easily. And when you've done about 5, let's switch. Roll the pelvis the other direction. And then from here, we're going to move into an open leg child's pose. So if you want your block for your forehead, have it nearby. Big toes are touching, knees step wide, and we'll bring the sit bones back towards the heels. If you're wanting to use the block, forehead rests on the block or forehead rests on the floor. Good. So if your sit bones are not quite touching your heels, and mine are not, just start to release the weight of your hips down. Good. So we're not pushing or forcing anything. But if we start to relax the belly down into the space between the thighs, just let the pelvis be heavy. In the same way, you can let the chest drop towards the floor, shoulder blades move towards one another. And just nice big belly breaths here. And then walk yourself back up. And we're going to keep our legs in this kind of strange position. So toes are touching, knees are open. And we're going to bring the pelvis forward and back. Okay. Pelvis drops forward and moves back. Again, move in a range of motion that feels good. Moving frog position. And then we're going to try this as a hold. So the next time I come forward, I'm going to let my belly come down to the floor, my left cheek come down to the floor, and my toes are up in the air. You might think of this as the butterfly pose on your belly, right? Your legs are doing something like butterfly pose. And then slowly, as it's comfortable, the feet might start to drop a little bit. Again, so maybe just the big toes are touching, or maybe you can bring the soles of your feet together. And again, not forcing anything, just allowing the weight of your body to settle into the floor. And just maybe the feet are dropping. Again, if the inner thighs are stretching enough, keep your feet up in the air. Otherwise, see if they can lower down into a diamond shape. Long, deep breaths. Maybe we're still tracing that pathway between the nostrils and the navel center. Settling in. And then when you're ready, we're going to rest on the forehead, bring the arms alongside and bring the legs back to neutral. You can bring your arms back and just let your legs open. You might use your big toes to kind of pivot back to kneecaps, tops of the feet. On your next inhalation, let's see if we can lift the head and the shoulders. And then exhale, come back down to the right cheek. And then forehead, inhale, lift the head and shoulders. This time, let's bring the legs up too, and maybe the arms. So we're up to our boat pose. And then exhale, left cheek. Forehead, inhale, boat pose. Reach through your toes, reach through your fingers. Exhale, right cheek. Forehead, inhale. And start to time this to your breath. So on the inhalation, you're up in boat. Nice slow exhalation, coming down to resting on one cheek. When you're ready to inhale again, forehead. And do about 3 more. And maybe seeing if you can rise a little higher. Good. Last one. And then not sure which cheek you ended on, but let's all be on the right cheek. And we're going to use our gecko pose now to relax the lower back. So you're on your right cheek and you're going to bring your left knee as high as you can next to you on the floor, resting on the inner thigh. The leg opens and kind of scoops up towards you. This is showing on the camera, so flip around. So you're just like a gecko on the inside of an aquarium. All right, climbing up the side. So my knee is up high, close to me. Oh, my right cheek. So you're looking at your bent knee. And to see if you can breathe into your lower back, breathe into your hip joint, and likely the pubic bones up off the floor. And now let's be a gecko on the other side. So bring your leg back down. Good. And we're going to gently lift the head, flip to your other cheek. Resting on the left cheek now. Right knee slides up next to you. If it feels good, the ankle could be bent. And then just see if you can feel where you're not in touch with the floor. So some of you may be, if you have very flexible inner thighs, groin area, you may be. Otherwise, we're probably feeling the hip joint and the pubic bone lifted up off the floor. Just see if you can start to drop and relax. Got 2 more breaths. And then we'll slide the leg back down to neutral. And we're going to push back up into table pose. So let your hands be on either side of your rib cage. Come on up. And we're going to be doing a moving cat pose. So on the exhalation, let's see if we can bring the right elbow and the left knee towards one another as the spine rounds. And then inhale, long. Exhale, squeeze in. Inhale, long. Again, looking for about 5. And on time number 5, we're going to look for a hold. So let's see if we can be here, reaching through fingers and toes. Okay. The balance isn't comfortable. The toes could be on the floor. And then let's switch sides. So back into your table position. Again, moving cats, left elbow, right knee. Bring them towards one another under the body. And then inhale, flat back and reach. Exhale, squeeze in. And on time number 5, let's see if we can hold for about 5 breaths. So the right elbow is straight but not locked. Eyes are probably down on the floor. That's nice and neutral for the neck. Good. And then hand down, knee down, child's pose. And once you're down in child's pose, it might feel good to wiggle your fingers a little bit, move your wrists. And then the last thing we'll do here on the floor is a downward facing dog. So when you're ready, let's come back up to our table position. And turning the toes under and lifting the sit bones up. Okay. And once you're here, you can pedal your heels. Push the floor away from the body. And we're going to see if we can go from downward dog to a standing forward fold. Okay. So when you're done, let your knees bend a lot and see if your hands can walk towards your feet until your heels drop. Yeah. If this is a place where you want to grab your block, you could do that. And then we're going to very slowly start to straighten the knees a little bit. And just moving into our forward bend. When you're ready to come up, bend your knees a lot, draw your belly in, and let's start to roll up through the spine. Shoulders up to the ears and back. All right, let's step just a little bit wider. Make sure you have room around you. We'll do some twisting. So we have soft fists with the hands, the eyes stay forward. Hands move. And then we're going to bring the legs together. So arms are down, legs step all the way together as best you can. Big toes are touching, knees are touching, hands are on the hips. And we're just going to bend the knees. Good for ankle joints, best we can, keeping our heels down. And then come up. And once again, knees bend, This time, let's bring the sit bones back like we're sitting down into a chair. And we're going to bring the arms behind us. Okay. Their cross-country skiing position. Okay. And then as you inhale, start to come up to standing. Arms are lifting out in front, and let's just see if we can lift up onto the toes. If it feels better at this point too, you can step the feet a little wider apart. Touching is working, we can stay there. Otherwise, take a little step. And then heels are coming back, knees are bending, sit bones are moving backwards. Reach behind you. It's a good winter movement and much better than actually skiing, right? Coming back up to standing, lift up on the toes, nice strong feet. And then knees are bending, heels drop. Let's do 3 more. And the inhalation moving up. Use your balance, and then coming down. And then once you're in this down position, let's stay here, 5 breaths. So nice and strong, draw your belly in a little bit. Keep your balance over the arches of your feet. And then pressing into the feet, nice and slow, just come back to standing position. Shoulders back. And down. Okay, again, let's take a wider stance. And we're going to interlace the fingers behind the back. And let's start to straighten the elbows, bring the hands down towards the floor. And we'll lift the chin up towards the ceiling. Nice stretch for the upper chest, the neck. And then relax back. So your eyes are forward and your hands can come back to sitting right on the sacrum. So right on the back of the pelvis. And then when you're ready, we have the legs a little bit open. We're going to tip forward. And then bend down into the knees and come back up. So 5 of these. Inhale, tip forward. Bend the knees, push in, come up. So keep the back neutral. We're moving just here at the hip joints. And 1 more. Here we go. Inhale, tip forward. Bend into the knees. Very good. So this time when we tip forward, we're going to bring our hands to the floor. So if you want your block, have it nearby. And let's rotate the thighs open. Okay, so before we start moving, toes point out at short corners. All right, so if you're on the long side of your mat, the toes are pointing out at about 45 degrees. And we're going to tip forward, soft knees. And this time, bend your knees and let your hands come to the block, the floor. Okay. And once you're there, we're just going to glide the pelvis forward and back. And the next time the pelvis is in center, you might try moving the feet so that the toes are pointing inward. Okay, so we push into the heels, turn the toes to look at one another, and drop the head. This will give you a really big stretch through the calf muscles. If this pigeon toe, or now there's a skiing word for it too, snow plowing position isn't good, just keep your toes pointing out, knees bent. That can be here or here. And again, about 5 long breaths. And now if you do have your thighs rotated inward, if your big toes are looking at each other, soften your knees and come back to thighs rotated open. And let's bring the hands back to the sacrum, interlace the fingertips, bend your knees a lot. Push in and tip, 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 tip. Okay, let the circulation come back out of your head. Let's step together and we'll walk a little bit. We're gonna do some hip rolls now. So if you're brave, you can do this in the middle of the room. Otherwise, let's find a wall or something to help support us. And let's start by holding the wall with the left hand. So wherever you are, left hand, and we'll be working the right leg. And we're going to just lift the right knee up in front as high as we can. Rotate open, around. And through. Just drawing a circle with the right knee. It's bent. If it works, foot is flexed. When you've done 5, let's go the other way. And then let your foot come back down to the floor. Again, walk a little bit. Again, find a wall or a chair or some kind of support. And now the left knee comes as high as it goes. Around and through. Good for concentration too. And we've done about 5. Let's go the other way. And then toes touch down. Okay. A little bit. Okay, let's just do a little bit of forward lunging. Okay, so lots of leg stretching today. So what we're going to do here is just stand at the back of the mat. We'll do a moving warrior 1. Sounds good. So the toes are forward. And we're going to start by rotating the left thigh open a little bit so the toes look off the long end of the mat and stepping the right foot forward. Got our warrior 1 legs, and we'll just bend down into the right knee. And the next time your knee is straight, the arms are alongside. Let's inhale, drop in. Exhale, come back. And the next time we come down, let's stay there. Chest lifted, shoulders relaxed down away from the ears. We might even turn the little fingers in towards each other a little bit. That'll open up the chest. Steady, and then the left hand comes to the back of the left thigh, and let's lift the heart towards the ceiling. So take a little back bend here. Fighting warrior. And then come back to neutral, and let's see if we can step left foot up. A little bit. Yeah, it's hot in this room, isn't it? We're doing Bikram here, hot yoga. Good to clean you out. Okay, so we're at the back of the mat again, toes are forward. And this time the right thigh is going to open a little bit. Toes will look off at the long end and the left leg will step forward. So find your stance and then we'll bend down into the knee and come back. It's the knees. Use our arms as well. So next time you're back, the arms are alongside. Inhale, drop in. Exhale, come back. You can kind of key into your own breath, how your breath is pacing your movement. So slower the better, right? You're nice and relaxed in your movement. Joints are soft. And the next time we come forward, let's stay there. Again, if you rotate your pinkies towards one another, we'll open up the chest. Just feeling your balance over the arches of both feet. Lifting the heart, but relaxing the shoulders. And then the right hand will come to the back of the right thigh. Lift your heart, look up at the ceiling, little back bend here, 5 breaths. And then bring the arm back down, eyes forward, and right leg steps up. Sweet for left. Let's do about 8 abdominal squeezes now. So when you're ready, lowering down into the knees, hands rest above the knees. And just take a moment to relax your belly first. You could do Agni Sara here if you know the practice. On your next exhalation, lift and squeeze the navel up towards the spine. Inhale, relax. Yeah, let's do about 8. And whenever you get to your number, you can just roll yourself back up to your mountain pose. So we're going to get ready for our final relaxation, but I'd like to spend about the first 5 minutes with the legs in the air. So however that's most comfortable for you, you can find a wall and do legs up the wall. Or if you don't have a good wall, you could use your bolster or your block underneath your sacrum. So that would look something like lifting the pelvis and placing the block, not in the lower back, but to support the pelvis. And then the legs could be up in midair. So a block works for this, bolster works, or you could have your pelvis on the floor with your legs on a wall. Okay, so take a few moments now so that you have whatever you need. And after about 5 minutes of elevation, I'll prompt you to bring your legs back down. Unless you're super happy, you can keep them up there. But sometimes after 5 or 7 minutes, we start to get a little tingly and it might be time for legs to come down. Okay, so go ahead, set yourself up. Bring our legs down here. Yeah, well, you can find space here. That's what's nice about small classes. Want to use the bolster or a wall? Yes. Is it okay with the column?
Yeah, I think I'll start with.
Ah, good idea. There you go. Yeah, we have a lot of fancy woodwork in here. Thanks, find a flat wall. And in my house, I just have so much furniture, it's hard to find a flat wall. So if you're home too, you can use your bed. So if you hide in your room to practice at all, and just put your legs up against the side of your bed if you're down on the floor. And the chair will work as well. All right, we usually will have the lower legs resting on the chair, so it's not quite as intense of an inversion, but we can also lie on the floor with our lower legs on a chair. Okay, so once you're here, find a place where your heels feel supported, or if you're up in the air, a place where you feel steady. If you'd like to wiggle your toes or move your feet around a little bit, you can definitely do that. And to start to let the weight of your legs settle into your hip joints. And allowing your eyes now to close. And getting a sense of your breathing. So feel the place where your head and shoulders rest on the floor. Feel the place where the sacrum is resting on your bolster or block. And imagine that you could inhale fresh energy through the arches of your feet. So the inhalation moves down into the arches. You draw that fresh prana from the legs all the way down into the root center, base of your pelvis. And then the exhale flows back up. Again, inhaling fresh energy down the legs from the arches to the root center. As you exhale, let the exhale move back up to the bottoms of your feet. Softening your knees a little bit and your ankles. Alrighty, so it's been about 4 minutes. If your legs are up against a wall and you want to stay there, you definitely can. People at the Institute are using walls. I think most folks at home are up in the air. So if you're up in the air, for sure, you might need to bring your legs down soon. So as you do that slowly. And if you're up against a wall here, you're welcome to stay or move down onto the floor. Or you can move down onto the floor in a little bit. Okay, so no rushing. But we're gently wiggling the toes a little bit and slowly lowering the legs. Always come out as slow as you went up. So either shifting to Shavasana now or when you're ready. And then bringing your awareness up to the crown of your head. And imagine at the crown of your head, a field of warm energy. This warm energy moves down into the crown of the head and fills the space of the forehead. Moves down around the eyes, relaxing all the little muscles around the eyes. Across your cheeks and into the jaw. And then move around the ears, across the back of the head, and down the back of the neck. Relax the sides of your neck. Release your throat. Relax across your upper back and into your shoulder joints. Across the chest and into the heart center. Softening the space of the heart. For a few breaths now, watching the path of the breath into the nostrils on the inhale, filling the space of the chest, and then moving up and out through the nose on the exhale. Relax down into the sides of your rib cage, the sides of your waist. Soften your lower back. And now feel the movement of breath in the abdomen. The belly fills on the inhalation and empties on the exhalation. Move down into your hip joints. And upper legs. Feel that warm energy flow down into your knees. Lower legs and ankles. Soften your feet. Move into the arches of your feet. All the little joints in your toes. Relax your big toes. Your second toes. Third toes. Your fourth toes. And your two little toes. Relax the tops of your feet into the ankles and shins, knee joints, the quads. And then starting at the base of the pelvis, start to travel right up the center line of the body. And from the roots to the crown, soften as you move up. Feeling each vertebra in the spine drop down a little more into the floor. Relaxing all the muscles that support the spine. Feeling its heaviness. And
And when you reach the crown of your head, travel back into the muscles in the face. And just notice if any expression crept back in. Sometimes it does, even though we're not looking at anyone. So again, smooth out your forehead, your eyes, relax your jaw. And then as you're ready, we're going to move into our meditation position. So taking all the time you need and very slowly, we'll come into resting on our right side. And after a few breaths there, finding our seat. Wherever that may be, on the cushion, on the chair. And when you do get there, feel the place where your sit bones are touching your seat. And very softly lifting through the center line of the body. Very softly lifting through the crown. And allowing the body to move to stillness. Notice the sensation of breathing in the nostrils. The coolness of the inhalation as it moves in. And the warmth of the exhalation as it moves out. Relax your forehead, relax your eyes. Awareness rests on the movement of breath. And let's start to couple the movement of the breath with the sound of our mantra. So as the inhalation moves in, hear in your own mind. So, and as the exhalation moves out, so, just inviting your mind to rest in that vibration. If thoughts or sensations arise, let them go. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Peace, peace, peace. And then allow the sound of your mantra to go. Breathe a little deeper. And start to move the body. Shoulders, fingers. Let's warm the hands and cup the hands over the eyes. And when your eyes are open, your hands can come away. Thank you all so much for being here. Thank you. Namaste, everyone. Thank you. My pleasure. And I just wanted to remind folks too, Sunday we have our Yoga Nidra practice. It'll be on Zoom. So if anybody wants to Zoom in for that Sunday morning at 10. And then I'm doing the drop-in meditation on Monday night at 7. So also on Zoom. So if anybody wants to join me Sunday or Monday, I'll be back. Have a really great weekend. Enjoy.
Thanks, Tracy. That's this Sunday for the Yoga Nidra?
Yes.
Okay.
So I'm going to send out, if you're registered for it, I'll send codes this afternoon. If you're not sure if you're registered for it, just email me and I'll send you the stuff.
Thank you.
I know these announcements come out by middle of October, right? For the November, December session. It's hard to remember what we're doing. But anybody on the list, I'll send an email today.
Thank you.
Thanks, Tracy. Great class.
Yeah, good to see everybody.
Have a good weekend. Bye-bye.
Yeah, we'll do. I'm gonna try to go shopping tomorrow morning.
Ugh.
You know, I got my daughter and my mother-in-law lined up to hit the Boulevard Mall. So
Wow. Well, good
Yeah.
luck.
yeah, thank you.
See you tomorrow or
great.
Sunday. Thanks
Yeah,
again.
sounds good.
Bye.
Yeah.